Hello everybody, welcome to LICET's Your Question Time. I'm Nancy Matthew and I'm a third year computer science student here at LICET, and I'm going to be your host for the evening. We are thrilled to have you here with us today. We understand that selecting the right college and applying to the right colleges can be quite a daunting task, and all of us here have been in your shoes and we're here to help you out. So the purpose of today is just for you to be able to have a conversation with us about the college application process and life here at LICET. So we've got Ashwin Andrews from the EC department's class of 2014. We've got Prakash Anto and Pondering from third and fourth years of the mechanical department. We've got Sarah Peters, Rahul and Vinny Varghese from the CSC, IT and EEE departments respectively. So all of our panelists here have come from a variety of backgrounds, and the one thing they have in common is the fact that they've taken the opportunities that have come their way and really launched themselves into their own individualized paths. So I think we can all learn a little something from them. I'd like to turn the microphone towards them and have them introduce themselves. Ashwin, if we can begin with you. Ashwin, could you please turn on your mic?
Sure. Hey everybody, my name is Ashwin Andrews and I graduated from the EC department in 2014. And I'm very proud to say that actually I was the first batch, I was part of the first batch at LICET. Upon graduation, I was fortunate enough to go and pursue my master's at ECAM in France. And in 2017, I moved to the US to pursue my MBA, and I'm currently a senior analytics consultant in Boston. I'm very excited to be a part of this panel, and I look forward to sharing my experience with you guys.
Pondering, would you like to go next?
Hey everybody, I'm Pondering. I'm from fourth year mechanical engineering department. I've been a part of entrepreneurship cell in our college, and I've also traveled through the summer program to COMIAS twice. So if you have any queries regarding the COMIAS program, you can feel free to inquire.
Anto, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Prakash Anto from the third year of mechanical department. I've been a part of many clubs and culturals over the course of 3 years, and I also served as the vice president of the mechanical department student association. I'm chuffed to be here today and share my experience with you. I hope we can clear all your queries in the forthcoming session.
Thank you. Rahul?
Sure, Nancy. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahul from the Department of Information Technology. I'm a third year student. I stay in the college hostel and I run a tech club in LICET, which goes by the name Pondering. And I'm really looking forward to share my insights about the campus life in LICET with you all. Let's have a great event ahead.
Sarah?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Sarah Peters. I'm a third year computer science student. I'm a dancer. I've taken part in multiple cultural and club events. I write at TechSAR, which is our department's newsletter, and I'm really excited to be here and would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Vinny?
Thank you, Nancy. Hello, everybody. I'm Vinny Varghese from third year EEE, and briefly introducing myself, I wasn't a person who actually wanted to do engineering. Engineering was just my fallback option in case I didn't get a government medical seat. So that's how I ended up at LICET. And at this moment, I couldn't really have wished for anything better because I grew in so many ways thanks to all the opportunities that I received at LICET. So if you are a person who is forced to do engineering and you want to excel at engineering as much as you wanted to in whatever it is that you wanted to do before, I guarantee you that LICET is the right place to be at. So if you have any queries related to this, you can always feel free to ask me.
Thank you. I would request the participants who are joining right now to switch off their video and switch off their mic so we can continue with the session smoothly. So just to iterate what we have in mind for today, we will begin by picking our panelists' brains on a few key areas that we noticed a lot of you had questions about. We will then move on to specific questions that you had sent us before the start of the event. And after that, we will open up the chat box to answer questions live. All right. So I think most of our audience members today are students who are just out of class 12 and are at some point in their college hunt. Ashwin, you've been in this position not once, not twice, but thrice as you applied to LICET and then to ECAM and finally to BABSIN. Could you tell us a little bit about what students should be thinking about as they start their college search and how they can evaluate if a college is a good fit for them? Could you please turn on your mic?
That's a great question, Nancy. I think I've been in that shoe, as you mentioned, multiple times. And now students just graduated from high school and now all of a sudden they have to choose what program they need to take for college, and they have a wide range of opportunities. So there are a few things that I think students and parents must consider when they're looking out for colleges. So the first important thing that students should think about is how the college will help or be a bridge between where they are currently right now and where they want to be professionally once they graduate. So the program should help you develop the right skill sets and be able to provide ample practical experience for you to be able to, be good at what you want to be. So in that sense, you also should be knowing what the faculty is about, what is the quality of teaching at the college that you're going to be. The second important thing is the job placement itself. So you have to be thinking about how is the school going to be a help for me to get a job, right? So as soon as you graduate, the school must be able to have ample partnerships with industries, and you must have good campus recruitment at the college that you want to be. The third thing is a holistic approach. So the colleges should be able to provide opportunities or a platform where you can develop your leadership skills and other soft skills. This is very important for a student who is graduating because recruiters always look for students who are leaders, and not only just recruiters. If you're planning to go for higher education, it adds great value for your resume. The fourth important thing is international exposure and internships. So international exposure is very important because students get used to learning in a certain way. So when you go abroad and when you experience different cultures and different teaching methods, it opens different dimensions for you. It helps you think differently. Internship also play a great role because it gives you an entry into an industry that you want to work in. So it's a great way for you to know what you're going to be doing in the future. The fifth thing that you need to think about is the culture of the school. So a lot of schools focus on a certain culture that they want to inculcate in the students. So it's good if you can do your research on if you find a fit for the culture of the school. So for example, culture in the sense could be, experiential learning or doing by practical training or the collaboration that they need to inculcate in you. So you can do your research on that and see if you find a fit for yourself.
Thank you, Ashwin. Do you think that LICET provided these opportunities for you to grow as an individual itself?
Yeah, absolutely. Reflecting now through my experience at LICET, I think LICET has helped me in each one of those points that I mentioned. So I had really good experience with ECE, all the workshops and the courses that are provided. So, for example,
sorry. Participants, could you please switch off your mic? Thank you. Yes, go on.
So, as I was saying, LICET has provided all ample opportunities for me in each one of these spaces. Naming a few, I had a really good opportunity to go on an exchange program and learn differently at ECAM in France. I was able to do internships, and I was really able to hone my leadership skills through different events and culturals and sports at LICET.
I'm sure this journey to LICET and at LICET was very different for the rest of you as well. So could you tell us a little bit about what really clicked for you at LICET? Sarah, if we can begin with you.
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So for me, I didn't just want academics alone to be the center of my degree. I wanted extracurriculars and I wanted sports, etc. So this was definitely an advantage at LICET. And secondly, I saw the international programs as a major advantage, and coming into LICET, having taken part in these international programs, I think it's definitely paid off.
What about you, Rahul?
Yeah, Nancy. So, as per my experience, my father happened to be a Loyalite. So he used to tell me about the campus life in the Loyola College campus, the hostel life, the quality of the food being served in the hostel. And I really made the right decision by choosing LICET. LICET gave me the freedom to do what I wanted. I happened to do some high quality internships and in-plant trainings through the college placement cell. And I believe that industrial exposure is one of the prime component for the engineering education, and LICET has given me the adequate exposure that I wanted. And the best part about LICET is the hostel food. It's just too delicious.
What about you, Pondering?
Yeah, Nancy. So I was basically a very timid person when I entered LICET. I was nervous, even speaking to my classmates. So I had a lot of stage fear. But now I can confidently say that in LICET I broke all those barriers and obstacles, and I went on to be a star performer in all the cultural shows and participated in many events on stage. So today I can say that I can face any type of crowd, and I can interact with them, and I can make a contact with them. So this kind of confidence has given me inside the college in LICET.
And Vinny?
To be really honest, my only demand if I was expected to study engineering was that I shouldn't have to travel too far to reach college. That was literally my only demand. Besides that, I had heard a lot about LICET from my seniors when I was in school. So when I joined LICET, my self-esteem was really low because I was going to be doing 4 years of a course that I most certainly did not want to be doing. But my life at LICET helped me to overcome all my anxiety, starting with the bridge course that we had when I joined in my first year, all the way to the support of the staff and my friends through my journey. I regained my confidence and I was able to establish my identity. The thing is, I was an active student in school and I was worried that if I took up a professional course like engineering, I wouldn't get the opportunity to exhibit all my skills in college. But I couldn't have been more wrong because my talents were rightly identified and I was given plenty of opportunities. And this gave me the confidence that just because I was doing engineering, I didn't have to change who I was. For example, I was selected as the secretary of my department symposium, and I was given the opportunity of being the editor of our department magazine. And these were the kind of things that I was closely associated with in school, being house captain and being a part of the editorial team and all of that. So the fact that I was able to do all of that in college as well really helped me to establish my identity and set up the profile that I wanted to be associated with.
Nancy, you have to turn on your mic.
Anto, would you like to go next?
Yeah. So the driving factors for my decision of joining LICET were the brand equity that came with the Loyola tag, the international exposure, and the location as well. But the college helped me grow as a person in ways I had never imagined. Pondering and I came from the same school, which is SVOA CBSE. It's one of the biggest schools in Chennai, and I think it had around 15,000 students the last time I checked. So opportunities were sparse unless you were already very proficient. So I came into college a timid student with way too many inhibitions, but the faculty at LICET saw potential in me and gave me multiple opportunities to confront my fears and overcome most of my inhibitions. I will even go one step further and say that LICET has played a pivotal role in forming the person that I am today, and it stands testimony to the pedagogy that we as a college follow.
Thank you, panelists. That was beautiful. As Rahul and Ashwin had previously told us, placements are quite an important aspect when it comes to selecting colleges and identifying the right colleges for yourself. So Vinny, as our EEE department's placement coordinator, could you tell us a little bit about the placement opportunities at LICET?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So as far as placement is concerned, on an average, we have around 60 companies visiting LICET to recruit students. We have companies offering salary packages as high as 16 lakhs that visit our campus. And over the past 3 years, consistently, we have over 85% of placement opted students being successfully placed. So predominantly, the companies that visit our campus are IT product and IT services, and 20% of the other companies that visit our campus are course specific for mechanical, EEE, and ECE. So the highlights about placement at LICET is the fact that we have placement training being conducted for all the students right from the first year. And some of our regular recruiters are companies like TCS, L&T, Zoho, Robert Bosch, Sanmina, Alstom, MRF, Renault Nissan, Decathlon, and many more companies. So something unique about LICET is the fact that we bagged the National Employability Award of 2020 for being among the top 10% of engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu with the most students who scored really well in employability tests. So to be more specific, this year we had Amazon conduct an internship cum pre-placement drive for our girl students, and that's another important aspect I must point out, because there is an increase in diversity hiring by tech companies. So it appears that there is a positive future for girls in terms of career. And also because of the Loyola brand that is associated with LICET, we have extensive networking, which helps the students to find internships that could turn into a career prospect. And this networking also helps the students to find mentors who could help them with projects and, provide guidance related to entrepreneurship if that's their interest. So these are some of the highlights of the placement cell at LICET, Nancy.
Thank you, Vinny. As you just mentioned, entrepreneurship is also another path that a lot of students at LICET follow. There is this entrepreneurship culture that is nurtured at a very early stage here at LICET. Anto, as part of BEAT, could you tell us a little bit about it?
So placement is only one metric of career growth. Students graduating from LICET go on to do their masters in the most esteemed institutions worldwide. Ashwin will mention that. But LICET also gives room for students to explore their own ideas and grow into job creators rather than job seekers. The college inculcates entrepreneurial skills through BEAT, our entrepreneurship cell. Our college is relatively young, and within a span of 10 years since its inception, students from our college have gone on to establish more than 15 startups. The eCell inspires students by hosting several guest lectures and also helps students with innovative ideas to nurture their ideas into businesses by any means possible. Pondering here has had an experience with his own idea. Would you like to share that with the audience, Pondering?
Yeah, sure, Andrew. I was an active participant of the eCell, so I had come up with a bunch of ideas which really took a good shape. So I was encouraged by my professor, who he also become a mentor of my idea. So he encouraged me to pitch it in front of an audience in a pitching event. So I gained some really good knowledge about the business area in those kind of events, and I also gained a lot of contacts. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to make it a full-fledged business in the near future.
I'm sure we'll see it out and around very, very soon. Ashwin, you went on to pursue your master's at ECAM and proceeded to work and stay at Yale. What kind of employment opportunities do students have after a master's program in one of our partner universities? Could you switch on your mic, please?
So ECAM, as Loyola, is also a huge brand in France. So ECAM is known for producing or creating innovative engineers in the society. So in that sense, ECAM has a lot of partnerships with huge companies and brands. And I was fortunate to be able to find an internship at this company called Decathlon. I was very much interested in sports and technology, so I was able to find something interesting for me in a sports company. And ECAM was generous enough to create that link for me because of its network. So as students graduate from the master's program, they can leverage the resources at ECAM and the industry relationships to find a lot of internships and job opportunities. So if you're interested in fields like automobile, manufacturing, sports, and other technology spaces, you have a lot of options to leverage the networks and find job placements.
And how important was the international exposure you had before your master's later on in life?
Yeah, so during the third year, I was able to go on an exchange program to ECAM at Lille. So I think the exchange program itself was an eye opener for me, because in India we're used to learning in a certain way. So when you go abroad and when you interact in teams with other students, you have a multicultural experience. So what this experience does is really it helps you understand and think how others approach a problem, right? So you learn different ways to approach a problem and you can work differently. So recruiters and other schools value this a lot, and you can also take this back with you and apply it wherever you are.
Vinny, you were part of this summer program at ECAM last summer. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so as far as the international program was concerned, the impact that it had on my life was more of a social aspect. That is because before the program, I was a very timid girl and I wouldn't interact with many people, even if I wanted to. So although I was thrilled about going to a new country for the first time and learning engineering from their point of view, I was terrified about spending one whole month with people I've never known before. But ultimately, I went to France with a bunch of strangers and I returned back to India with a bunch of amazing friends. And it's not just the Indian students I went with who became my friends, because like Ashwin mentioned, there is this whole multicultural aspect at ECAM. So we were given the liberty to interact with the French students there. So during the international program at ECAM, we had a concept called the family weekend, where we're assigned to French students at ECAM, and we get to spend one weekend of our summer program with them at their homes. So the family that I went with took care of me like their own daughter, and the best part was the girl who hosted me in France, she had the opportunity of coming to LICET for her semester study, and at that time I was able to return the favor and help her out during her stay in India. So that is the speciality about the international exposure that I will always hold close to my heart.
That's nice. Ponram, you went to Cumias in Madrid twice during your time at LICET, once after your third year and once for your final year project. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So ECAM project involves a lot to do with the engineering kind of projects. So however, in Comias, we were into research projects. So each of us were guided by a professor at Comias, and we were allowed to handle highly sophisticated instruments over there. So I had the opportunity to visit Comias twice. And the first time it was at the end of my third year, and the next visit was towards at the end of my engineering studies to do my final year project. So I learned a lot during these two visits. To be specific, during the summer project, there were also students from other universities like USA, Germany, and France. Like Ashwin mentioned, once you visit all those multicultural students, you get to know various aspects of how to approach a problem and how to solve it. So not only it was an enriching experience academically, I learned a lot during this visit about Spanish culture, their lifestyle, and their language. And to be honest, the place Madrid, it's a very lovely place.
Thank you, Ponram. Apart from our extensive programs at ECAM and Comias, we also have multiple MOUs with many other universities abroad. Sarah, could you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, sure. So one of the shining gems of LICET is definitely their international programs. So like as it was mentioned before, France and Spain, we have most of our students going there, but you will also have an opportunity to visit Germany, specifically Heilbronn University. There is also an exchange program to Japan, which is it's a competition-based exchange, and it's at Shiboro Institute of Technology. The best part about this is that it's sponsored by SIT itself. We also have tie-ups with Fairfield University in USA and many other universities. So if you come to LICET, this is definitely something that you can explore if you wish to study abroad during your undergraduation.
So LICET definitely provides a lot of opportunities for students outside the country, but apart from that, LICET also provides a lot of opportunities for students to grow as individuals within the campus itself. Ashwin, could you tell us a little bit about these opportunities here at LICET?
Sure, Nancy. As I mentioned earlier, LICET focuses on a holistic formation. So holistic formation in the sense you need to have ample platform to be able to develop your leadership skills. So if you see in LICET, there are a lot of opportunities such as the cultural, the sports event, the club activities, which are all predominantly student run. So when I say student run, the students get together in groups and plan how to organize these events. So when you do so, students really learn the art of, doing something from scratch and working towards a common goal. A lot of colleges don't have such opportunities, but LICET emphasizes on students taking part in such activities and honing their leadership skills. I think the current students can speak more to the current activities at LICET.
Yeah, Sarah, you were definitely an active participant in Engineer Culturals, and you're one of our best dancers. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience with the culturals and what students get to do as part of the cultural?
It's a nice tag to have. So Engineer is our student culturals, and when you're in Engineer, you're a part of a very big team. So it's an inter-department cultural, and you have to remember that your team size is 100 or more people. So for one, definitely learn how to participate as a team player and also as a team leader. It's set up by the students. The student leaders go out and get sponsors, and they help set up all the events. So in Engineer, if you are not particularly interested in the classic singing, dancing, music events, you also have stuff like business idea, minute to win it, etc. Having personally taken part in both types of events, you can really see how this event brings out the best in everyone. There's health competition among the departments, and you really learn how to get motivated and work within a team. I think that's the best part of Engineer is the teamwork that you learn throughout.
Another very large-scale student-led event that we have is the Annual Symposium. Anto, you were the vice president of the symposium last year. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure, Nancy. So the Engineer and the Symposium will play a huge role in your student life should you join the college. So the Symposium is basically a tech fest that our college hosts annually for students from other colleges to participate in competing. Being the host, our job is obviously to organize it, which sounds deceivingly simple. As an office bearer, the onus is on us to manage every aspect of the event, right from budgets to each individual competition, with little to no interference from the management. This basically means that it's up to you to seek sponsorships and convince businesses to invest in the event. And the next main responsibility is to market the event on as many platforms as possible, and also to bring the students within the college together in small teams for each event and manage all their needs and discrepancies, sort of like how a manager coordinates with his team in an actual company, if you will. And you're doing all of this whilst juggling your academics on the other hand. So the Symposium is a very enriching experience to each and every participant who chips in to help organize it in any aspect, and it inculcates essential soft skills like leadership, communication, and management, which will play a very significant role in your professional life later on in your career, and it adds value to the holistic formation process, which is one of the tenets that the college follows.
Ashwin, you were very closely involved with sports while you were here at LICET. Could you give us a sense of the sporting culture here at LICET?
Sure, Nancy. As I also mentioned in the beginning, LICET has like a huge emphasis on sports. We have a huge facility to do multi-sports. So sports like cricket, football, basketball, volleyball, table tennis, shuttle, and other such sports are given a lot of importance here. As you can see, every year, LICET participates in a lot of sporting activities. So we usually go to a lot of inter-university and inter-college tournaments. To name a few, we participated regularly in SSN, in JPR tournaments. Also, LICET management and the physical education department of LICET encourages students to participate in all these events, right? So, for example, last year, LICET secured the 3rd rank in Anna University sports events, where about 500 to 520 colleges participated. Also, 95 students from LICET last year represent Anna University teams in all India inter-university tournaments, right? Also, we have a sports day at LICET, which is completely, again, student held. So students compete inter-department. So you organize your teams and you compete against different departments. And it's, again, a huge event that takes place for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, here I would like to mention about the tournament which LICET hosts itself. So for the past few years, LICET has been hosting the LICET tournament, where people from other colleges, they come to our college and they compete in multiple events. And this is one event which so many people look forward in the college.
Thank you. A lot of the students in our audience have made up their minds to do engineering, but are not quite sure which department of engineering they should opt for. So it would be nice if each of you could tell us a little bit about what your department is about and what kind of things you get to engage in if you're a part of your respective department. Sarah, if we could begin with you.
Sure. So I'm from the computer science department. In computer science, you spend a lot of time on mathematical based subjects. You go into the theory of computation. It's one of our core papers. But personally, I feel computer science is a very creative field. So you could study computer science and go on to become an animator, go into game design. You could go into analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's a very, very vast set of opportunities. Within our department itself, we have a lot of faculty who have previous work experience who help us understand what the industry is looking for. And a few of the highlights are we have Red Hat training and certifications, and Google has also fortunately sponsored a few of our students to help them become Google Associate Cloud Engineers, which if you have questions about this, I'd be happy to answer them at the end of the session.
Rahul, would you like to go next?
Sure, Nancy. So I am from the Department of Information Technology, and the IT faculty is the one department in LICET which offers a BTech degree. IT is more of a practical course when you compare it to computer science, with more emphasis on programming and logic. So being an IT graduate, your career options will include being a software developer, being a hardware engineer, network administrator, data architect, solutions architect, network architect, and so many other stuff, the regular IT stuff into which you can be. So I would say, like, if you're less into theory and more into programming and more into practical stuff, then I'd suggest you to opt for the IT program.
Ashwin, would you like to go next?
Sure, I was a part of the EC department. EC stands for Electronics and Communication Engineering. On a high level, EC consists of courses, workshops, and projects that will help you learn about different components that are foundations of technology. And by components, I mean both the hardware and software. So for example, if you take the iPhone has a lot of hardware components such as sensors, semiconductors. So you'll be learning not just about the sensors and semiconductors, but you'll also be learning about how to program so that these different components interact with each other and they form an ecosystem, right? So at the end of the course, the students will have adept skill sets that you need to conceive, to design, and to implement solutions for technological problems. And also, if you see, the faculty in ECE are very experienced, and they have a lot of research projects in their portfolio. In terms of career path, I would say that you find a lot of opportunities in communications, in tech design, and in IoT. The good thing about ECE is that you have the option to pivot either into IT or into any technology-related fields. So in a nutshell, I would say that anybody who is passionate about technology will enjoy this course.
Anto, could you tell us a little bit about the mechanical department?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So the mechanical department is not only the biggest in size with 2 sections for each year, but it's the biggest in heart and noise. That's the inside joke, I guess, but you'll get what I mean once you enter college. So mechanical engineering is a very, very vast topic, and each subject that you study under the curriculum is actually a field of specialization either in your master's or PhD. So it goes without saying that it has a huge scope, and it is also an evergreen field of study. So the demand for mechanical engineering won't plummet for the foreseeable future at least. I would recommend mechanical engineering to anyone who is of an inquisitive nature. If you find yourself wondering how something works, either in an engine or a ship or anything, or even a simple mechanism, if you're intrigued by physics also, then mechanical is the field for you. The mechanical department as at LICET puts a huge emphasis on learning by doing, and we have several clubs pertaining to the many fields that come under mechanical engineering. The most notable would be SAE, which is the Society of Automotive Engineers. Under this club, the students build off-road vehicles, go-karts, electric bikes, and even bicycles to participate in national level competitions. So if you're an automotive aficionado, LICET has you covered. Apart from this, we also have an aero design team and many other clubs for heating and air conditioning. The department also has a partnership with Daikin, who have installed a state-of-the-art facility within the campus to promote application-based learning. They also provide internship opportunities for students. Renault also has a working internship with the college and has donated 2 Duster cars to the department so students can better understand automobiles. The faculty are also extremely dedicated and qualified, with over 6 doctorate holders and the rest pursuing their doctorates. Some of the faculty even have more than 30 years of experience.
In addition to what Prakash had to say, I would like to add something. In our mechanical department, we have a team for building e-bikes, and that is a purely girls team. So that is the importance we give for even for the minority number of students in our department. So we are given a total freedom to work, and that improves our social skill set beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Vinny, could you tell us about the EEE department?
Yeah, so I belong to the Electrical and Electronics department at LICET. And speaking about EEE, there is this common misconception that it's the most difficult branch of engineering. So electrical engineering is actually one of the core evergreen branches of engineering. So in EEE, you learn a vast number of topics like circuit theory, electrical machines, power electronics, transmission and distribution, power systems, and all of that. So what is unique about the electrical engineering department at LICET is the teaching pedagogy. So every complicated concept in electrical engineering is broken down into a number of simpler concepts, and that is what is special about learning EEE right from the basics. And this unique teaching pedagogy led to our EEE faculty being presented with a teaching award from Staffordshire University of UK for producing the most consecutive university ranks. And the EEE department at LICET also provides a lot of consultation assistance, both the staff and the students. They perform a number of projects at various companies, and they provide a lot of consultation. So all I have to say about EEE is, if you want to join the department and you're really worried about joining just because you've heard a lot of people say that it's the most difficult branch of engineering, don't listen to all of that, because eventually when you enter the department, you'll realize that it's your own interest and it's your hard work and dedication that will take you places. So if you're sure about joining EEE, then don't let anyone ever stop you.
Thank you, Vinny. Even after each of you join a particular department, you will get multiple opportunities to explore areas outside of your department's domain through student clubs. Ponnarul, you recently set up a club of your own at LICET. Could you tell us about the club and how you set it up?
Sure, Nancy. So best part about LICET is it gives you the liberty, it gives you the freedom to do what you want, especially with the clubs. So I recently happened to co-found this club in LICET, which goes by the name Patarai. Patarai roughly translates to workshop. This is a tech club. This is more of a project club where people get to work on projects that will add and change, that will make an impact in the society. And we will provide the infrastructure, the knowledge you need, the mentorship, and all of the stuff you need to execute your project. So I'm extremely thankful to Mr. Prabhu Shankar of the Mechanical Engineering Department. He's been with us since the inception of this club. He's been in a pivotal position ever since this club's idea was there. And I'm also thankful to the LICET's management because they've been extremely supportive with us. They've been extremely supportive to establish this club even during the pandemic situation. And we are also happy to be associated. Sorry. The participants, please mute your microphone. Yeah, so we're also happy to be associated with the club's fabrication lab, the college upcoming fabrication lab. This will give the members access to much more sophisticated machinery that they'll need to work on the projects. And we have several events planned for you, and we'll be talking about that during the end of the session. And yeah, we are looking forward to work with you, fellow LICETians, the prospective LICETians.
Thank you, Pondahur. Apart from these technical clubs, LICET also has a lot of clubs and teams for students to explore non-technical areas like PR and content creation and music and dance and so much more. Vinny, you were part of the Media Relations Club, I think, and could you tell us about all these clubs that LICET has?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So apart from these technical clubs, we also have a number of non-technical clubs that are appealing to students, like the LICET Media Relations Club that has a number of students who are enthusiastic about things like photography, content development, designing, video editing, PR, and all of that. So this club is comprehensively involved in covering a number of the events that take place at LICET, like the culturals, the sports day, and all of that. Apart from this, we also have the LICET band, which consists of all the incredible singers and the instrumentalists. Then we have the Uncommon Crew, which is the LICET dance team. We also have an eco club called LEAF, which is the LICET Eco Action Force. And apart from these clubs, we also have the general things like NCC, NSS, YRC, Rotaract, which are all essential. And we also have a LICET Innovation Cell, which encourages the students to think innovatively and gives them opportunities to freely express themselves and their ideas. Also, something very significant is the fact that we have a very active women's cell at LICET, which does everything to make the girls at LICET feel more comfortable and independent. So that's about the non-technical clubs and associations at LICET, Nancy.
Thank you, Vinny. I think we've seen that LICET provides you with an ample number of opportunities to learn and to shine on your own. But one thing that's very significant at LICET is that the professors and the deans are always there to help you out whenever you need them. So, Anto, you've had a personal experience with mentorship in LICET. Could you share that with us?
Sure, Nancy. The student-teacher relationship is one of LICET's many virtues. I met Dr. Caleb, who is a dean of students in my first semester. He handles physics in my class, and I just happened to walk into his room along with a friend to ask him about the international program. And since then, I guess I walked into his room every week till date, and I'm in my 7th semester right now, so that's saying a lot. So I used to walk into his room every week because you always have questions about, future perspectives, career. Because once you're in engineering, the amount of opportunities that you have after your undergrad is immense. So you'll always have questions about your career. And apart from career questions, I've often walked into him with my own personal problems. And every time I walked into his room, I always walked out feeling better. So, and it's not just Dr. Caleb. I guarantee you, you can go and meet any faculty in the college, and they will be more than glad to help you in any regard, be it professional or personal.
So LICET's faculty and environment is definitely conducive to your growth and to collaboration between departments. Sarah, could you tell us a little bit about how the infrastructure at LICET contributes towards this?
So, can you hear me? Right. So, when I say that the infrastructure is amazing, it really is. When you walk in, you'll notice that the departments are not separated in buildings far away from each other as it is in most colleges. In our college, our departments are very close, and you can easily walk in and meet staff from other department students. So this allows for a lot of collaboration when it comes to project work or academics. Secondly, we have these areas called common rooms, which are just for students. It's for you to meet and talk about academics, projects, sports, culturals, whatever it is, you can plan over there. We have many labs, but I will talk about two specifically. One is the Center of Excellence, which is primarily for the CSE and IT students. And this lab is a place where if you can go in and work on any of the systems on any of your projects, you will find a lot of faculty there as well. So as previously mentioned by Prakash, mentorship is a virtue of LICET. So you can meet a lot of faculty there. The other lab is the Mechatronics lab, which is primarily for the EC, EEE, and mechanical students, and it's a state-of-the-art lab. We also have an upcoming fabrication lab, as Pon Rahul had mentioned, and that will be a big part of club activities and really getting your projects off the ground. Apart from this, we have projectors in each and every classroom, and indoor sports facilities include an indoor badminton court and table tennis facilities.
Ashwin, could you elaborate on the outdoor sports facilities we have on campus?
Yeah. So as LICET really focuses on sport, we need good infrastructure to support all the sports activities. So we do have a huge cricket ground. We have a football field. We have about 3 basketball and 3 volleyball courts. We also have a field hockey place. We also have tennis and shuttle badminton courts. So we have all the facilities that students can access to take part in the sport activities.
Thank you. So being part of the Loyola brand and the Loyola campus is definitely very valuable. But LICET was founded not just by Loyola, but also in collaboration with ECAM in France, which is another historical institution that's been around for over 100 years. Sarah, how has this partnership affected the culture of learning at LICET?
So having personally gone to ECAM over the summer and also having studied at LICET for 3 years, I've seen that a lot of our work is literally learning by doing. You do not just learn academically, you have to apply it in practice. I have a small story, which is when I walked in my first day at LICET, we had to enter this big hall with all the students. And they asked us how many of you speak French or have learned French. And I raised my hand, not expecting anything else. And they picked me and they asked me to go up on stage and speak in French. And I did not realize that there were French faculty sitting in the first row. Now, having spoken French up there, I was nervous, of course, but it really is a good example to show that from minute one, you start by experiencing things and not just reading about it. And I think that's one of the best examples to really showcase what LICET is.
Pon Rahul, you've always been a person who loved taking things apart and seeing how they work inside. Do you think you were able to continue this at LICET?
Yeah, okay. I would like to talk about something here. So LICET has this unique practice of system analysis and system discovery. So this is because LICET follows this Jesuit pedagogy of learning with a 4-pillar approach. These 4 pillars are academics, industry exposure, holistic formation, and international exposure. So in order to cover all of these, we have this practice of system analysis and system discovery, which happen periodically. So this culture is imbibed from the French college ECAM. This concept allows the students to have hands-on sessions with actual machinery. They can open them up. They can see how it actually operates. And this is something which is really unique to LICET. You don't find this anywhere else. We have faculty from ECAM who assist us with this system discovery. And yeah, I'm really proud about this point.
What is it that you got to open up through your time at LICET?
Okay, so this system discovery happens periodically. So in my first semester, I remember I happened to open up a printer. That was a functional printer. We opened this printer up and we saw what's there inside. Then we tried to put back, okay, it was a failure, but still we tried to assemble it back. That was fun. That was much of a learning experience. In my second semester, I remember opening up a CD drive. So this is a regular desktop CD drive. I remember opening it up and see how it operates. We connected it to an actual computer and see how it operates. We did that. During my third semester, I remember it was network modem, if I suppose. I think that was the thing, the regular DSL modem. we were opening that. During the fourth semester, I think it was a regular computer's cabinet, a regular desktop cabinet. We opened that and saw how the system functions and things. Okay, and what did I do in my fifth and sixth semester? Okay, the fifth semester, I remember we were working with the larger modems, the DSL switches, where you interconnect computer systems over a large infrastructure. We did that. And sixth semester, it was again more of a project-based one. We happened to work on the mini projects. I think this was it. And apart from this, for other branches, I remember people working with motors, people working with electrical stuff. Maybe I think Prakash can illustrate more on that. Anto, would you like to take over?
Yeah, sure. So as far as the mechanical department is concerned, the mechanisms are quite a little bit more complicated, I would say. So in the first year, we happened to disassemble a fan and understand how the modulations works and all of that. And later towards in the second year, we got to take apart a gearbox mechanism that actually took a long time because putting together the individual gears. So it was over a week of hard work, and we didn't actually do it properly, but it was a good attempt. And I got to learn a lot about how things work there. And in our labs as well, we have the cut section models of engines. So we have multiple engines. We have, petrol engines, diesel engines, and there's multiple cylinder ones as well. So you get to understand how the ignition cycle actually works. And I don't think you have facilities like that in other colleges, as far as I know at least. So this really shows that we do put an emphasis on application-based learning.
So it's definitely clear that from day one that you enter here, you learn by actually doing. You work on pulling things apart or work on projects of your own. Sarah, what kind of projects do students usually do, and how early on do they start out here?
So first of all, students are motivated to start their project work right from year one. If you have an idea in mind, you can approach the faculty or senior students, and they will definitely help you. An example of a few projects, the bigger ones, are one called Baha by the mechanical department. I think Prakash or Ponram will be able to speak about that. And then we have the e-bike, as previously mentioned, which is an entire girls team, which is ECE, EEE, and mechanical students. You also have other departments working. For instance, the CSE students and the IT students do happen to work on a lot of software and hardware-based projects. And truly, if you have an idea, you should really just go ahead with it. You can learn by doing.
Thank you, Sarah. I think if you have any further questions about our projects or the kind of things that you get to do, you can ask us later on during the question session. On a much lighter note, Ponrahul, you've always been vocal about how the food here at Loyola is one of the best that you've ever tasted. So how is not just the food, but the entire hostel experience at Loyola?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. This question is more of a subjective one, and there's so much to cover. Maybe I can give you an overview about the hostel life. So first I'll start with the rooms, then the nature of the rooms. The rooms are extremely spacious, and each student is given with a separate cupboard, a separate desk and chair, and 2 power sockets. This is how the room is organized. Apart from that, within the rooms, you have provisions to dry your clothes. You have provisions to wash your clothes. There are washing machines in the girls' hostel, and you have this water coolers everywhere. And you have Wi-Fi access in the hostel. You can keep your mobile phones. You can keep your laptops within the hostel campus. That's allowed. And I think we can talk about the food next. So for the food, we have 3 different mess in the hostel campus. First is a vegetarian one, then you have a North Indian, and then a non-vegetarian one. You will get pretty much non-vegetarian food every day in the North Indian and the non-vegetarian mess, like almost every day. And trust me, the food is delicious. And what else? I think we've covered the most part. There are 2 different gymnasiums in the hostel as well. One is specifically for the hostelers, and you can find another one within the college building, within the LICET campus building. And please make use of that if you happen to stay in the hostel. And you are allowed to keep your motor vehicles inside the college, given that you get prior permission from the management. And you have most of the amenities also nearby the hostel. You have shopping plazas nearby. You have hospitals nearby. The prime factor is the location of where the college hostel is placed. It's right within the Loyola College campus, and it's in Nungambakkam, the heart of the city. You will find almost all the amenities you need, apart from the ones which the hostel provides. So don't worry, things are safe, and you're also allowed to go home whenever you want. You just have to get the prior permission and make an entry in the logbook. You can go home whenever you want. And whenever you feel like being homesick or something like that, just feel free to talk to the assistant directors and the director of the hostel. They are really friendly. Trust me, the LICET hostel is just like your second home. You can ask any questions if you have at a later point of time. When we open the chat box, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Rahul. So it's pretty clear now that LICET really has you covered from all perspectives. LICET also reserves seats for economically backward, for people in economically backward situations. They provide over 1 crore in scholarships to over 100 students every year. And it's also one of the only colleges that does not collect any capitation fee, which means that if you're a student admitted via Anna University counseling, you will only have to pay rupees 60,000. And if you've been admitted via the management, you will have to pay 92,000 as per the government guidelines. So this is one thing that's very, very unique about LICET. I think we've covered all the major areas that a lot of you had questions about. We will now move on to specific questions that you sent us before the start of the event that have not already been covered up until now. So the first question is a question that I'm sure a lot of you would like the answer to, and it's from a student from Good Shepherd. She asks, will we be able to enjoy our college life? Honest answers, please. Anto, would you like to take that?
So I think this is a very subjective question because my idea of fun may not be the same as yours. But if I had to answer your question, I would definitely say yes. LICET emphasizes on freedom with responsibility. You're free to do anything and enjoy your college life by any means, so long as you stick to certain predefined boundaries. And this shows a lot in the rules that we follow. Mobile phones are allowed into the college, provided you switch them off before you enter the classroom. And you're allowed to use your own personal transport to come to college, and we have parking for bikes and cars as well. That's another degree of freedom that I haven't seen in many colleges in Chennai at least. And to answer your question about whether you can enjoy your college life, it's completely up to you. The college will throw multiple opportunities at you, like the engineer and the symposium. You will have to take part in every opportunity that comes your way, and that is the only way that you'll actually have memories to cherish once you're out of the college. So I would say that it's completely up to you.
Thank you. A number of other questions came in about students being concerned about whether they would be able to adjust to engineering, especially computer science, after taking biology in 11th and 12th. Sarah, would you like to address this?
Sure. So when you study engineering here or under any Anna University affiliated university, you will have to start from scratch. So even in your first semester, they teach programming and other subjects right from the beginning. So if you are worried about programming, coding, or just basic computer science related subjects, you really have nothing to worry about. And as you go on, you will have plenty of opportunities to figure out which field you like the most. I think Vinny was a biology student 11th and 12th, and she'll be able to explain more in this area.
Yeah, sure. So like I mentioned before, it doesn't really matter what your background is or what your cutoff is or anything of that sort, because ultimately when you join engineering, you have a smooth transition from your school life to your college life. That is in terms of curriculum as well. And it is the amount of hard work and dedication that you are willing to put in order to graduate as a good engineer. So I don't really think it matters whether you've taken PCMB or PCM in your 12th. All that matters is you're ready to put in some effort, and you can come out as the best engineer at LICET. So of course, in case you have any other issues, the staff are always there to lead you and guide you in case you have any difficulties in adapting to the situation. So I don't think you have anything to worry about in that aspect.
Thank you. We also had numerous questions about specifics regarding the admission process. So we thought it would be nice to kind of lay out the whole procedure for you. Ashwin, could you take us through the process?
Sorry, Nancy, can you repeat the question again?
We got multiple questions on the specifics of the admission process, whether there will be an entrance exam, when it will be conducted, will there be an interview, what kind of cutoff is required. So we thought it would be nice to address this as a blanket issue and kind of take our audience through the whole admission process.
So the admission process is usually after you have your scores from your 12th exams, you apply to LICET, you just have to fill up a form and then you have to apply. And then based on your profile, you get an interview call from LICET. So students who go through counseling can directly pick their seats through the counseling, but students who come through management quota are called often for an interview to assess the student profile. So everybody is given an equal and fair chance based on your resume and your profile and your background, and then you are awarded a seat into the college. That's usually how, on a high level, the interview process or the admission process works.
I must add that this time, because of the whole lockdown situation, our interviews are being conducted online, and the admission process has already begun. You can go to our website and go to the admissions page. We will be putting that up at the end of the discussion. So any further questions that you have, you can ask us in a few minutes. Another question that students often came to us with is the eligibility criteria and the costs of these programs that we have abroad. Vinny, would you like to address that?
Yeah, so as far as your international programs are concerned, it's purely merit-based, okay? So you can't slack during your engineering life and expect to be given an opportunity to go on these international programs. You need to be meritorious, and also you need to show true interest that you will be able to handle the projects that will be taking place over there. So as far as the cost is concerned, I can talk about my experience this year having gone to France, and the amount is around 1.2 to 1.3 lakhs. So that depends. What is unique about this international exposure is because the college has MOUs with these foreign institutions, you're not paying for what you learn over there. So all you pay is for the flight, your travel and things like that. So your teaching and your project work is entirely sponsored for by these, because of these MOUs with the universities abroad.
So none of these, neither LICET nor the host institution collects anything from you for these international programs. It's only for your personal expenditure that you have to spend.
I must add that.
Yes.
Right. Sorry. So the Japanese MOU that we have with Shibora Institute of Technology is completely sponsored. So for students looking to study in Japan or work on a project over there, that would be completely sponsored.
Including travel and personal expenditure, is it?
Yes. No, not no. Personal expenditure is not included, but travel, of course. Yes.
Okay, thank you. One important aspect of the whole engineering experience is definitely the industry exposure that you get. So a number of our audience members have asked us about how LICET helps you get these internships during your engineering period. Rahul, I think you'd be right for it, considering your experience with it.
Yeah, sure. So I happen to take up a couple of internships and in-plant trainings through the LICET placement cell. I can give you a brief overview about the companies who offer internships. So we have this Daikin and Lactalis who offer a 6-week internship. I happen to do an internship with a company named Bombardier for about 45 days in Hyderabad. Then there is this company called as Idea Factory who offers internship for CSC, EC and IT department. It's a 3 months in-house internship. You happen to work inside the college campus, and this happens for 3 years. So the interview will start by somewhere around your second year, and you will be working with them for second, third and fourth year during your college years. And there's this company MasterCube which offers again in-house internships for CSC, EC and IT. Then there are other few companies who offer for EEE and mechanical, including Temple, Brakes India, Renault Nissan. So these companies, they offer for EEE and mechanical. So this is just a general overview about how internships work. So if you have more questions, you can shoot them at a later point of time. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. We've received a specific question about the difference between ECE and EEE. Vinny, would you like to tell us the difference?
Yeah, okay. So if you're interested in electric vehicles and you're crazy about Tesla and Elon Musk and you love figuring out things about electricity, inverters and all of that, then EEE is for you. On the other hand, if you're interested about figuring out how communication in your phone works and how your mobile phone communication networking happens, then you will have, and you also have a slight inclination for coding, but you don't want to go full on IT or CSE, then ECE is for you. Apart from that, you have electronics, which is common in both ECE and EEE. So if you're interested in things like sensors, microprocessors, and all of that, you can choose either of the departments. EEE is quite vast, but you'll have the credit of becoming an engineer in one of the core branches of engineering. And ECE is a derivative of engineering, which is just as good, and it has its own spin on it. And it will be easier to jump into the IT sector for jobs if you wish to change your mind at any point. But as far as I know, both EEE and ECE have wide scope for government jobs. So basically, I think it's a personal choice, whether you want to take ECE or EEE, it's ultimately up to you.
Thank you, Vinny. We also received a similar question regarding the difference between IT and CSE. Rahul, could you take that?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So just giving you a high-level picture, the difference between computer science and IT is that CS is more of a theoretical subject. So if you're into theory, let's say, there are three different subjects which define what computer science actually is. Theory of computation, finite automata, and compiler design. So you don't have these three core subjects in IT. This is what, which really defines CSE. And if you're more into programming, more into web programming, more into mobile application development, if you're more into a practical guy, then go for IT, I would say. But if you love theory, if you love studying about how the computer actually operates, if you love studying about the architecture of the computer, then go for CSE. So the prime difference is CSE is about theory, IT is about practical.
Thank you. Going off in a different direction, we got a specific question from a student who is very interested in athletics and football. So the student asks, what tournaments has LICET taken part in, and has LICET played any interzonal matches? Ashwin, as our sports person here, would you take this?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me answer the participation perspective of LICET first. So I was a part of the football team in LICET, and I've been actually a part of the Anna University team as well when I was studying. So LICET continuously every year participates in the Anna University tournament. So every university that's affiliated under Anna University, every college that's affiliated under Anna University plays a tournament, and during the end, you get selected if you play well to represent the Anna University team. And then you go into interzonal colleges and sports activities and represent Anna University. So we have a really good football team, and I personally have overseen how it's evolved during the last 10 years. And the physical department especially encourages the team to go and participate in a lot of activities. So some of the tournaments that we usually participate every year is the SSN tournament, St. Joseph's tournament, Anna University. We go and participate in JPR tournaments. We also participate in the Murphy tournament that's organized by Loyola College itself. We also participate in the LICET organized sporting events as well. And in terms of athletics, we also have a really good athletics team that has placed a lot of medals in Anna University competitions and have represented Anna University as well. Even during sports day, a lot of emphasis is put on athletic events, and you can see all famous events such as the 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump, triple jump, and students can be free to participate and compete in those activities.
I think if you're into sports, LICET is definitely a place for you, because right when you walk into LICET, the main lobby is covered with sporting trophies and medals and national level and international level prizes that students have won. So sports is definitely a very, very major part of LICET. I think we can open up the chat box now for your questions. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have on the chat box, and we will be answering them right now. In the meanwhile, while you post your queries, there was this one question from a student who's really interested in data science, which is a very up-and-coming field right now, very in-demand field. The student wants to know how they can pursue this field here in LICET. Sarah, could you throw some light on this?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from computer science department. So specifically speaking, our department has helped, has added value-added courses to our, it's every week we have these courses and they teach you right from the basics. We also have multiple workshops where you can get into machine learning techniques and really spend time on a few projects even in this field. Apart from that, we do have faculty who have specifically worked and trained and are teaching us these subjects right now. So I think as it's an up and coming field, it's definitely one way to go. And if you are really interested in it, you have both seniors and faculty who can help you. And we also have a few students working on projects in these fields. So that's also helpful.
Nancy, I can add to that because over the years, I've seen that LICET emphasis on real world experience and real world training. So what LICET does is they have relationships with companies that focus in data science. So they have these industry experts who come and teach the students in what's going on in today's industry or marketplace. And so that way students just don't have theoretical knowledge in data science. They have actual practical experience in all the projects and what's going on in real time.
Thank you. Okay, so one of our audience members, Lynette Margaret, wants to know more about the dance club. Sarah, could you tell us something about the dance club?
So our dance club is relatively new. I saw a few of her questions. If I'm not wrong, they were also interested in those, in people who could take part in both extracurriculars, dance and sports. It's all allowed. You don't have to worry about just putting yourself in a single category. Yeah. And so the dance club, you will, if you do happen to join it, you'll notice that they have practice timings and they will be working on routines, etc. But if you are really interested, you will have an audition to get in. That's all I can say right now.
We have multiple questions coming in about whether LICET has NCC, whether LICET has an NCC name. Vinny, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, like I mentioned about the clubs, I think I've already addressed this before. We do have NCC, NSS, YRC, Rotaract, and all of these other clubs. And you are expected to be a part of one of these clubs at least because it's a part of your curriculum. So definitely you have all of these options open for you. And they're very active clubs because we also during this lockdown period, we had a few quizzes and activities conducted by these clubs. So I can tell you that, yeah, it's definitely an active club in LICET.
We've got a question from Mini Prince. The question is, do we have to wait for Anna University counseling results to come before admission at LICET through management, essentially? Anto, would you like to take this?
Yeah, the Anna University counseling is only one aspect of the admissions. Management quota is just as important. So you will have to turn in your applications online, as Nancy mentioned, and you will be called for e-interviews. That is the only possibility we have under this lockdown. So I think the interviews have already started. So I would urge you to apply as soon as possible and give the interview your best shot.
What about students who haven't yet received their results? Can they apply yet?
Yeah, I think they have made provisions for that because you still have a lot of time until the counseling is actually over because Anna University counseling doesn't look like it's going to get done anytime soon given the current scenario. So you still have a lot of time to hand in your application even without your cutoffs.
Okay. We've received a question from a student who is particularly interested in ethical hacking. Does LICET provide opportunities to learn such skills? Ponrahul, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So being specific about ethical hacking, one thing I can say is the engineering degree which you take in LICET, let's say CS or IT, give fundamentals about web programming and all this stuff you need to, that will cover your basics. And apart from that, if you ask me specifically about ethical hacking, LICET does organize several workshops, and LICET does organize several courses which take up certifications that you can take based on your interest. So if you really are interested in ethical hacking, and if you have a crew who are interested as well, I would say just reach out to your department, reach out to your HOD maybe. They'll help you out. They'll get you a provision to organize for maybe like certifications.
We've received a question from Regina Francis asking how scholarships will be provided at LICET. I think I can take this. It's the scholarships at LICET are provided mainly for students who require it in terms of an economical point of view. There are multiple scholarships provided by Renault-Nissan, by there is this provision called the Amber Scholarship, and also multiple scholarships provided by the Jesuit community. So Renault-Nissan, if I'm not wrong, provides a scholarship. Last year provided a scholarship of ₹1 lakh per student to 54 students, and the Amber Scholarship amounts to ₹80,000, and it is awarded to 28 students, 7 from each year. And of course, the Jesuit community will definitely help out any student in need. So that is definitely something that you don't have to worry about. As soon as you enter LICET, you can apply for these scholarships and you will definitely be helped. We have a question regarding the scores, the board exam scores, and in particular, there is this student who's concerned about whether if you have very average scores, is that the only criteria to get into LICET? Ashwin, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure. As I said, LICET focuses on a complete holistic profile. So scores are important, but it's not the only criteria you're going to be judged upon or interviewed upon. So you can bring your other extracurricular activities. You can build your resume around what you're good at, not just academics. So put forth your best profile and show your talents and skills, and you will have a fair shot to get a seat inside LICET.
Okay. Belkina Rose asks us, if I have received admission through management quota, but I later receive a seat through counseling, what will I be paying management fee or counseling fee? Anto, could you take that?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. This actually happens every year as far as I'm concerned. So there isn't a very complicated process. You just have to go. You can come into a management quota, and once the anonymous counseling results are out, and if you happen to get selected, you just have to approach the administration and tell them that this is what is happening. They will help you switch your management seat into an actual anonymity seat, and you will not have to pay fees as per the management quota. You will only have to pay the anonymity prescribed fees.
Okay. We've also received a question about the difference between ECE and computer science. Ashwin, would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, so when we discuss about departments, we briefly touched upon how different departments work. So you see, ECE is more about learning both the hardware and software of technology. So you will learn more about the components in a device or a gadget, and also the basics and fundamentals of how to program those devices. Computer science is more about computational theory and fundamentals of computers and how computers work. So usually when you start with computer science, you learn the basics of the computer hardware, the computer softwares, and the programming, and you can then pivot into, let's say, a specific area that you want to focus on, be it data science or analytics or any sort such. So I would say on a high level, the difference is computers more related to theory, computation foundations, etc. And ECE is more into technology, the hardware and software perspective.
Okay. We've got a question from Delphina Rose asking about whether there are girls in the mechanical engineering department and whether there are any restrictions for these girls. Pondering, would you like to take this?
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned earlier before, we have a e-bikes team which is comprised only of girls, and the number of girls, for example, last year in my seniors class, there were the number of girls were around 6 to 8, and in my year the number of girls in mechanical department was around in my class it was around 10 to 12. So the number of girls in mechanical department, their participation is increasing year by year, and I can definitely say that if they have a better participation in our department, we can make a great difference. So the participation of girls in mechanical department is never regarded a second thought or anything like that. You're most welcome.
Thank you. We've also received a question regarding whether LICET promotes indoor sports like chess. Do we have any chess players in our college? Ashwin?
Yeah, I think we do have a variety of indoor sports, namely chess and carom are given a lot of importance. So we do have students who are really good at chess and have competed in a lot of national events. Also for carom, we have after college hours where teams go and play carom, and they try to develop themselves, and they try to participate in events that are hosted by other schools. So if you see, for example, LICETian hosts university level competition. So you have also chess, carom, and other indoor sport activities. So teams can apply for themselves and go and participate in those events.
Jane Annie has asked us if girls actively participate in all these teams, be it the club activities, be it the sporting teams, be it culturals. How good is the participation of girls in our college? Sarah, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure. So having personally taken part in all these events myself, I can tell you that there is no distinction between boys and girls. Everybody gets a fair chance to take part in whatever they want to take part in. If it is specific regarding sports or culturals, as usual, anywhere else you would have an audition or a trial match or something like that. But apart from that, there is no restriction. You will be allowed to take part in anything you want to take part in.
We've received received this question from multiple people actually. They've asked if a student can only take part in one kind of extracurricular activity like sports or cultures, or can a student take part in as many as they please? What would you say to that, Pondering?
Yeah. Actually, Nancy, that is a myth, and I want to bust that myth right now. Because I was a part of entrepreneurship cell, and I also participated in the cultural activities really actively, cultural activities, and I was also balancing with my studies also, and even I had a passion of learning a new language. So in the due course of time, in the 4 years, I was able to learn the German foreign language. So if you are able to manage both your studies and your passion and your activities, I think LICET is the place for you to shine. And there is no such restrictions that one should only stick to academics and not for sports and extracurricular. There's now no such thing, and you're welcome to participate in any event as much as you want.
Ashwin, as I think amongst all of us, you're probably the person who's taking part in the most kinds of events. Could you tell us a little bit about how you balanced all of this?
Yeah, like we've already spoken, LICET focuses on freedom with responsibility. So as long as you can manage your academics and your extracurricular activities, you are free to do what you want to do in terms of choosing your clubs, your extracurricular activities, and other events that you want to participate with. So personally, I was participating in most sport events. I was participating in the cultural events, and I also participated in other club activities and symposiums. So it's just about you finding the balance between how you want to manage your academics and your time for extracurricular activities. So it's eventually up to you on how you want to pursue these activities.
Thank you, Ashwin. We've also got a question about what kind of career prospects somebody who graduates from the EC department will have. So Ashwin, could you answer that as well?
Yeah, sure. So in EC, right, you learn both technology, hardware, and programming. So you have the advantage of either going into IT sector, or you can be into any kind of technology field. So you can go into system design, you can work in IT as analyst, or you can also be, go into a training position for a software engineer. You can work in IoT. IoT is the latest field that is coming up, which is, so IoT is more about sensors and how you collect data, right? So you can also see that a lot of startups are coming out which are based on technology and AI and stuff like that. So students with ECE have a good understanding of how the technology works and how to program those technologies. So you have like a vast number of opportunities in such industries and fields.
Thank you. We've also got a specific question from a student who's very interested in robotics and wants to know if EC is the right field, right stream of engineering to pursue that field.
So I would answer this differently, because robotics is a field in itself. ECE has subjects and courses and workshops that would help you learn fundamentals and other domains of robotics. So if you really want to get into robotics, what I would suggest is you can take ECE, you can learn the fundamentals of robotics and all the different hardware that goes into building robotics, and then you can precisely focus on a master's program that concentrates on robotics. That would be the ideal path for you if that's where you want to go.
Thank you. We've got questions from multiple people asking to explain in further detail about the computer science engineering experience, what you get to do and where it can take you. So Sarah, could you give us a little bit of detail on that?
So as I mentioned before, computer science is a vast field. You will definitely learn theoretical subjects, but there is no dearth of practical subjects as well. So if you are someone who says interested in data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, I think that computer science is definitely a great degree to take up, because you will learn the basics and you can really get into advanced projects in these fields. Apart from that, if you're interested in hardware, and say you want to get into system administration or cyber security even, because the basis would be networks and those will be your foundations, then again, computer science is a great field. And last, if you are a creative person and you want to get into gaming, animation, or other similar fields, computer science is another answer to that, because you have options to pursue that as well. So truly, computer science is a great field because it gives you many opportunities after you finish your degree.
Thank you. We've had multiple questions asking us if LICET has a uniform. So, Anto, would you like to bust that myth?
LICET does not have any uniforms, but we do have a dress code. I wouldn't say it's strict, but it conforms to the professional standards that the society and the industry expect. and it's something that we need to be able to inculcate right from now. So I wouldn't say it's stringent again. It's just the guidelines for you to follow, and it's really not a concern, to be honest.
Yes, thank you. There's another student who actually wants to know in detail what kind of subjects are offered under computer science engineering. So Sarah, could you tell us something about that?
Right. So within your first 2 years, you learn a number of programming languages to start with. You take up a few math subjects, engineering maths, and a few further math subjects. And you get into database technology. You do learn a little bit about the ECE department. So as Ashwin has said, you will learn a little bit about sensors and that type of technology. It's applicable in computer science as well. And then as you go higher on within your last 2 years, you start to choose your electives. So your electives can be in, say, web development, analytics, again, networking. Networking is actually a core subject, but beyond that, if you want to study further, then these are your subjects later on. But for your core foundation, it will be math, theory of computation, as said before, programming, and a few other of these similar subjects.
And where do computer science graduates, what kind of course do computer science graduates usually end up in? What kind of fields do they? What kind of fields do they usually get into after a degree in computer science?
Right. So as I mentioned before, that you have many opportunities. So you could become an analyst, you could become a system administrator, a data engineer. You could get into, there are even code programming jobs, which are another option. You could go into research and development, as a few fields in computer science, such as AI, is ever evolving, and we haven't reached its pinnacle yet. So that is one option if you are more research oriented as well.
Thank you. There are multiple questions regarding the application process again. There is this specific question about whether you have to apply separately for each department or whether you can apply once for all the departments that you might be interested in. I'd like to clarify that right away. You have to apply separately for each department that you might want to try out for. And as for your interview process, you will be contacted personally and be told what time you will have to appear for an interview, a personal interview with our management. There is a specific question about if management quota students will be given a scholarship. I think I can answer that straight away. Yes, even if you're from the management quota and you are in need, the college will definitely help you out. Okay, we have a specific question for Vinny. Xavier Sheila asks, will core companies offer jobs, and which core companies offer jobs?
Okay, so like I mentioned, when I was talking about placements at LICET, we do have core companies that visit for ECE, EEE, and mechanical. So you don't have to worry about that. And besides the companies that come to campus to visit, you also have, like I mentioned, the employability tests that are conducted within the college. So through those tests, you increase your chances of getting hired on a national level. So you can be recognized by different companies, core companies with high salary packages if you score really well in these employability tests. So as far as core companies are concerned, for EEE and ECE, we have companies like Robert Bosch, Valio, Sanmina, Coney Elevators. For mechanical, you have MRF, Alstom, Daikin, Renault Nissan, Lactalis, Decathlon. And apart from that, you have the companies like I mentioned before, HCL, TCS, CTS, L&T, Zoho, Tech Mahindra, and all of those companies. So I guess that should answer your placement queries.
Thank you. We've got a recurring question on what the management is doing to handle the COVID situation, as in post-lockdown or pre-lockdown. What has the management been doing to make sure sanitation is maintained? Anto, would you like to take that?
Yeah, sure, Vinny. So even before the lockdown, the college took preemptive measures by having sanitizers all over the college. Every staff room, every room you go into basically had a sanitizer in it. So it shows that we were, coping right from the beginning. But post lockdown, what the proposals have been so far is to shift the education online at least to a certain degree and on in the college to a certain degree. So a set of students will be doing each at one time. So you will have half the students attending the online session and half in the college so as to promote social distancing. This is one of the measures being taken, and we're working on more and more measures as the standards are increasing.
So the college is definitely taking measures to ensure your safety. The exact situation will probably be more clear to you once the government provides some kind of the guidance as to how colleges should proceed. But your safety will definitely be taken into account. You do not have to worry about that. We've got another specific question from Badhi's PA. It's asked, can I branch into game design and programming after I study computer science? Will LICET provide these facilities? Sarah, would you like to take that?
You can definitely branch into game design and programming after computer science. As mentioned before, while we may not exactly have further papers on this, you will have workshops set up, or you will be given the chance to work on projects. Maybe even if your seniors have also worked on this before, you could get in touch with them. And we do have faculty who have taught these specific fields in depth before. So you could get their guidance as well. So there's every chance that you can branch into these fields.
I must add that LICET definitely provides electives for you to go on your own specific path, and game programming is one of them.
Nancy, I would add that a lot of students have these questions where they want to have these specific domains that they're interested in. So another thing that LICET encourages students to do is that if you have interest in any of these specific domains, you can approach your teachers to ask them to either conduct workshops on those domains, or find any publicly held workshops that you can integrate with LICET and make it available to students. So it's open enough to share your interest in what you want to pursue, and the faculty is very happy to support you in that.
Thank you. There's another question that I think Ashwin will be the right person to answer. There's this question about how LICET helps you further transition into a master's program for your higher studies.
Yeah, first of all, right, LICET has the Loyola brand name. So when you have that brand on your shoulders, you have a special preference given when you go and pursue your master's, right? So they know because students at Loyola and LICET have a certain kind of formation that is holistic and that will add value to the cohort in a master's program. Also, you have various opportunities to with the tie-ups that LICET has internationally. So we have tie-ups with a couple universities in the US, specifically Fairfield and St. Louis University. We have a tie-up with ECAM. We have tie-up with Commerce and Hebron in Germany, right? So we have opportunities for students graduating to go and pursue their masters here. So if you want to look at other universities than a tie-up, you can take your GRE and you can apply. So when you apply, you can mention the various extracurricular activities, the holistic formations, and the projects that you've done at LICET, and that plays a pivotal role in your application process for your master's.
Thank you, Ashwin. We have another question from Lynette Margaret. She asks, do they have student council in college just as we do in school? I would just like to highlight that unlike school, a majority of the activities in college are student-led, and I think Anto can tell you a little bit more about one of his experiences like this.
Yeah, sure. So we have multiple student clubs within the college. So BEAT is not a student club entirely. I mean, we have a staff convener, but he doesn't really, interfere with our happenings. If we are interested in something and if we have connections to, let's say, host a guest lecture, then we're more than welcome to get the management's permission and go on with it. And that is just one aspect of it. And like Pondra was here, he also has started a club of his own, and the management will support you in any means possible, provided you show them the interest. So no, you won't have any concerns about clubs here. And if you feel that you need to add some other clubs that you want, you are more than welcome to come here and begin it on your own.
I must add that all our culturals and all our symposiums are completely student-led, and all the people who lead these events are elected by students themselves. So yes, you will have experiences with something very similar to student council in college as well. We have another question about how students should prepare themselves to study engineering. Sarah, could you tell us a little bit about how this transition is handled in LICET, especially with the bridge course?
Yeah, sure. So when you come into LICET, you do not immediately get thrown into engineering. You have a little bit of time before, and we call this a bridge course. So in the bridge course, you meet the other students, you go through a few basic concepts, a few puzzles. You even get to work on a project. I think Ponram will be able to explain that in a minute. And generally, the bridge course is a way for you to move from student life to college life. So as it is, even in your first semester, you'll start from the basics, but the bridge course will just help you get a feel of what you will be facing as you get further into college. Ponram, if you'd like to take.
Yeah, sure, Sarah. You begin to do projects not from your second year or third year. You begin to do your projects right from the first semester you enter into the college. So in LICET we have a practice of having something called introductory game, where you break the ice between your classmates. It's done through you people are divided into groups, and you are asked to make a little project which is according to industry standards, and they are judged in front of a panel of judges who are the teachers of our college. So in this way you get to know the quality standards and the industrial requirements right from the beginning, and you start to have the transition from your schooling to a graduate right from the first semester of your college.
Thank you. Jenny Robin asks for more detail about the IT department. What kind of what kind of prospects, what kind of things you do in the IT department, and what you get to do after you graduate from IT. And Rahul?
So talking about the IT department, I already gave you a idea about how the stuff works in IT department. IT is more often programming-based course. You get to learn a variety of programming languages. A few examples include Python, C, Java, .NET, then PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. These are like few examples. But the primary emphasis is on web programming. This is where we primarily focus on. And there are few elective subjects as well. They will focus on desktop programming, like more often classical desktop applications. And we also have some emphasis on analytics. So we have this very specific paper called Big Data Analytics, where you get to learn more analytical stuff like machine learning, statistics, and coming to mathematics, you have the least number of mathematics courses in IT department. So the first three will be like basic engineering mathematics, and then you have logical mathematics like discrete and algebra. So these are for logic. And coming to the career prospects, you may become a software engineer, a software developer, network administrator, system administrator. Like these are the typical roles of an IT guy. So I guess that will give you an overall picture of how stuff works in the IT. And apart from that, we have several department-specific events as well. I would like to highlight one event, which is the annual conference which we host. The IT department hosts conference annually. It's like it's an international conference. So you get to present your work, your research work, your practical work, your project work. You can get to show them there, and people from various countries will be there to assess them. So this is one event which the department holds annually, and it's a highlight for us. Apart from that, the regular events are there. The symposium is there, and I think that pretty much addresses everything.
Thank you, Rahul. We also have a specific question, a concern actually from a student who wants to know if they can improve their fluency in English once they join a college like LICET. Vinny, would you like to take that?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So the thing is, I've actually noticed a lot of people come into LICET with very low confidence because, they have certain inhibitions regarding their communication skills. So what I've noticed in these people is, although they come with this concern, over their journey in LICET, they truly develop into someone who, I'm pretty sure, they surprise themselves. So that is a level of sort of an interaction between the staff and the student, which helps you to improve your communication skills. And we have a number of activities that are conducted in LICET apart from what is mandated by the university, which gives students an opportunity to develop their communication skills. So as an engineering student, obviously you will be expected to go to other colleges and other symposia where you will have to present papers. So all of that has to start at college. So in your third year, you will probably in your third or your second year, you will have this concept called presentation. Okay, so you will have to do a technical presentation, and this is held within your classroom. So you will just be presenting it to your class, and it's just your faculty who's handling that who will be present there. So that is like a small step which would help you to develop your communication skills. So when you have the confidence to present in front of your own class, you will develop the confidence to go further to other colleges and other national level competitions and present yourself. So you don't have to come to LICET with a fluent communication skill or anything, but you will develop these skills during your life at LICET. So that is something I can guarantee. Every department works really hard to ensure that your communication is stable.
I would like to add something to this. LICET also has this period called as life skills. That's a part of your regular timetable. So this life skills happens for like 2 hours in a week. So every week you have 2 hours just allocated for this. This life skills will give you the values that you need. So it will improve your communication. It will improve your way of presenting yourself. It will improve your project management skills. So this is what this is the life skills. That's one highlight, and I don't think other colleges, they provide them within your timetable itself. That's the best part.
Thank you. We have a question from Joanne Julia asking if students, it's a question from Andrews Vishal asking if students are provided with transportation facilities. Sarah, would you like to take this?
So personally, I've taken the LICET bus facilities. There are 3 bus facilities and they cover 3 different routes. The one I take comes through Adyar, covers Santhom and further down, Tiruvanmiyur, South Chennai, and you have 2 different routes. So once you join LICET, you can inquire more about it. And if you are in one of these routes, you could sign up for the bus facilities. But we only have bus facilities and none other. We do have a train station close by, which is right next to Loyola College, and there's a gate that comes just close to the train station. So these are 2 facilities which are very close.
Yes, LICET is definitely very, is located in right in the heart of the city, and it's very accessible by train and bus. So you shouldn't have any problem reaching LICET no matter where you stay. Sujata D, you had just missed my answer on whether you should apply separately for each branch. I'd like to reiterate that yes, you will have to apply separately for each branch that you are interested in this year. We have another question about the automobile companies that recruit from LICET. Pondering, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So as Vinny already mentioned, there are a number of automobile companies that come regularly to our college for recruitment, namely Renault, Alstom, Valeo, and there is a tier 1 company called Makers Global, and MRF. They are some of the regular recruiters in our campus. And Alstom, is to be specific, Alstom is a French company which does metro rails which supplies metro rail for India. So we have immense number of opportunities want to pursue their career into automobiles.
Thank you. We've got multiple questions from the audience asking about the teaching at LICET, especially when it comes to tough concepts that you cannot understand at one go. How is the student-teacher relationship in LICET? We've already mentioned how close it is, but Vinny, would you like to address this specifically?
Yeah, sure. So as far as classroom teaching in LICET is concerned, I don't think you have anything to worry about because like mentioned, we have vast infrastructure, which means every class has an overhead projector, which makes learning that much easier because it allows the faculty to display presentations and videos to make learning more interactive. And the staff always ensure that you've understood a particular concept that is taught before moving on to the next step. So despite all of this clarification and everything that is done within the classroom, if you have any doubts and clarification, the staff are always ready to help you out. In fact, they're even willing to stay back after college hours and clear all the doubts that you have. So you don't have to fear the teachers at LICET because as mentioned before, the teacher-student community, the relationship between them is it's very nice. You know, you don't feel like you're talking to your faculty. You can confide with them with anything and they'll always have something to tell you, something that will help you. And this special relationship that comes between the teachers and the students is primarily because of the student-teacher ratio that is present in LICET, and it makes it possible for the staff to actually accompany the students in everything that they do, you know, whether it's academics or projects or whatever, whether it's your club initiatives, you're always supported by the teachers no matter what. There is no point in your life where you're just left blind, you know, just do whatever you want. They give you the freedom to do things with responsibility, but in case you ever have any apprehension, you can always approach them. They're very approachable. And in fact, this closeness and comfort between the staff and the students is what helped me personally settle in at LICET without any apprehension. So yeah, I think that should answer your question.
Just to add to Vinny's point, because of the infrastructure of our building, all the staff rooms are easily accessible. And so if you do find yourself in trouble, you can literally just walk into the staff room and find faculty there and sit down in the staff room and have a discussion with you if need be.
Thank you. We have another question from a student who wants to know, I guess this is more of a personal opinion, but what is the major difference between life in school and life at college? Rahul, would you like to take that? To reiterate the question, the student has asked, what did you find was the major difference between your life at school and your life at college?
Yeah. So, okay, this is again a subjective question, but going with a general idea, school life is something where you get to just learn your academics, I guess. I know the point might vary. I'm from a CBSE background and I studied in a junior college. So for me, my school life was a bit liberal. It was just like how the college life is. But I don't think I'm the right person to answer this. Andrew, can you take this question?
I think I will start with this question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the difference that I would say, a common difference I would say between school life and your college life is what you want to pursue in your life, right? When you transition from your school life, you have a kind of passion that you want to pursue, and you follow that passion at your college. So let's say for me, during my school life, I wasn't really sure of what I wanted to pursue for a professional career. So after I graduated from school, I had a understanding or like a basic understanding of what my interests were in terms of profession and passion. So for me personally, I was interested in technology, and so I knew that in college I want to learn the skill set and courses and do things that would help me go closer to what I'm passionate about in terms of profession. So that's where I think the major differentiation comes between school life and college life, is where you work towards your passion and your career. And at the same time, you also know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and you make use of the opportunities given at your college to hone your weaknesses and further strengthen what you're good at.
Adding to Ashwin's point, I think when you're in school, your sole intention is to, ace the 12th standard boards and get into college later. It's only once you enter college that some of us will figure out what we want to do at a later stage. So my personal experience as a college was, and it was a journey, it was an exploration journey. Throughout the 4 years, I went to multiple competitions, multiple cultural workshops, and, LICET gave me the freedom to explore every avenue. And through that, I was able to zero in on my personal career choice after this. So again, it comes down, it's ultimately up to you. What you do in college is completely up to you. If you come in with an idea that you're going to do something, then you'll definitely work on that specifically. But if you come in with a little more loose set of intentions, then it's an exploration journey for you to figure out what you want to do later.
Yeah, and adding to Andrew's point, I have one thing. To say. If people told you like once you finish your board exams, you're free, then trust me, they have fooled you till date. It's not like that. When you're into college, you have to study. You have to really work hard. Not just with LICET, with any other college. If you're there, you have to study. It's not like once your board exam is done, you're free for the rest of your life. You are supposed to put in the best of your efforts, and you'll reap the best out of it.
Thank you. I think we will wind up with the questions for today. I think we've answered all of your questions at some point in the session. If you have further questions that you have for us, either now or later during your college application process, you can contact us. I will be putting up our email IDs right now. So at any point in time, if you find that you have some kind of question, some kind of clarification about LICET or about college life in general, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email IDs are present here. You can contact any one of our students or even contact our team of students, Dr. Caleb. We have an upcoming program, a computer science boot camp that is being held by Club Patarai. I'd like to hand over the podium to Pundrahul to expand on that.
Yeah, sure, Nancy. So I was telling you earlier that we run a tech club in the college by the name Patarai. So Team Patarai is organizing a computer science boot camp throughout this weekend. We have curated the entire playlist. We have curated the entire syllabus specifically for students who are opting for CSE, IT, EEE, and ECE, and mechanical engineers who are looking for a programming experience also. So all are invited to join. This will help you to transition from your school life to college life. We'll tell you how the computer system works. We'll cover the basics of programming. We'll cover the basics of a computer system. So there might be few who have never turned on a computer system in their life. Don't worry, we've got you covered. So if you're looking for a career in computer technology, then please join the session from 3rd to 5th of July. It will be a 3-day boot camp, 2 hours a day. And the meeting will be held from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. So until we finish, you can find the link now in the chat box. I'm putting it there. Also, I'm putting it here now. And also join the Telegram channel of Team Patarai. So if you have any announcements about upcoming events and if you have any change in plans, then we'll let you know that. I'll put the links on the chat box. You can find it there. So feel free to get in touch with us. If you have any questions, we'll be really happy to answer. And over to Nancy.
Thank you, Pundrahul. If any of you are looking to apply to LICET, seek admissions at LICET, the application process is online. You can log on to the admission page at www.licet.ac.in as presented on the screen. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you panelists for making the time to answer all of our questions. Thank you audience for being here. We hope we were able to teach you a little bit about the whole college experience. Good day.